Many years ago, I asked one of my teachers, how could I know if a software engineer is a senior? He said, put a litmus paper on his tongue. If it changed orange, you got yourself a senior software engineer. But I think I know what makes a software engineer a senior. Well, it depends. Pun intended. Hi, I'm M. Sajjad, a software engineer with more than 10 years of experience, hired more than tens, and been hired multiple times. And today, I'm going to tell you what I believe a senior software engineer is. To me, senior software engineering means using the word "it depends" a lot. I know people usually want final answers and want the owner of the decision to be decisive, but unfortunately, there isn't a one solution fits all. That's obvious for different teams with different natures of business, different regions of operation, different infrastructure, growth stage, tech stacks, backgrounds, budgets. But even in the same team, I'll assure you that you will never build the optimal solution because there is none. What you are actually doing is always choosing the solution that you think is better for your problem at that time. But every software is doomed to face change. The more you know how to weigh the cons and pros of a decision, a technical one, the odds of making a better decisions are higher. So I believe that a senior software engineer knows that already and doesn't have a strict opinion. They research, weigh, and even test. The more you have in your toolbox, the better the evaluation gets. But what do you weigh? You have to know how to make a good software. And for that, you have to have a good picture of what a good software is. We all heard usability, maintainability, scalability, availability, security, and sub-branches of them: portability, accessibility, testability, readability, extendability, and so on and so forth. But understanding the scope of the needed code and its lifecycle, the usage, and the scale makes a huge difference in knowing which one of these metrics should be the main focus. Confusing? Well, let's go through an example to explain what I mean. Sometimes you just want to find duplicate emails in a CSV. So you could create a full-blown application with an endpoint that you could send any CSV, validate it, parse it, calculate and respond the lists of duplicates. Use all these architecturals and design patterns, but does it make sense? You could create a simple script, run it in the terminal once, and get the same results. No need for maintainability, readability, and any of those practices. How about not coding at all? And just using Excel and Google Sheets for that. Which one sounds better? Well, I believe a senior software engineer would say it depends on why you want to find the duplicate emails in the first place. And without knowing why, how could we weigh on which software metrics to focus on in our designs and build for what? So I hope you agree that it's very important for a senior software engineer to understand the business and the whys behind the requests, tickets, stories, needs, whatever you have in your project management framework. If we don't, how could we measure which parameters to focus on in our designs? So without a context and understanding what value it brings to the business, all of those mentioned approaches are correct and wrong at the same time. And with that said, we get to the next thing a senior software engineer must be good at: communication. How could you understand the business needs if you are not a good listener and a curious person that asks the right question to understand what they should know? Let's talk about technology. But first, have you ever tried opening a screw with a knife? It's not easy and doesn't work all the time. And if it does, you might ruin the screw or break the knife or even hurt yourself. But yet, sometimes we don't have a screwdriver around, so we get creative. But what if you don't know what a screwdriver is? What if you only know the flathead and you want to open everything with that? Is it efficient? How many tools do you have in your toolbox? These are metaphors, and in software, tools change way faster than screws and screwdrivers. I know many techies out there use the coolest frameworks, the hottest programming language, the geekiest editors, and the fanciest IDEs, the most cutting edge data storage and cloud provider, and see their growth in knowing more. But if you are a software engineer, you definitely have seen these technologies coming and going. It is not viable to know it all. But on the other hand, in this fast changing ecosystem of software development, if you don't learn and keep up to date, you will soon become obsolete. And that brings me to my next point. Senior software engineers must know what they know and should be aware of what they don't know. And they don't need to know everything in depth. Obviously, you have to know your everyday tech stack's ups and downs and be able to use those tools efficiently. But you have to have enough breadth knowledge on the ecosystem as well and continuously learn to complete your toolbox. I've never seen a senior software engineer that has stopped learning because they thought they knew it all. You have to know that each tool has limitations, and with every change, there is something at stake. So, we should choose our tools wisely. But different companies expect different things from senior software engineers and define them with their own criteria. The most important ones that I know of are: first, senior software engineers don't need handholding for their job. And by that, they expect them to be able to break a complex problem into subtasks, resolve them, and create a solution with the mentioned quality that delivers the value. Second, since bigger companies have to handle organizational scale as well, they have to have a healthy combination of senior and junior software engineers. Seniors to make software that are scalable, maintainable, and those types of things. And they want to have a plan to train the juniors to become future seniors. So they usually expect seniors to be able to coach junior engineers, either as an assigned peer or in the code reviews and sessions. Be a role model to them and help them grow. Bear in mind that they might not be called senior software engineers, but they have fancy names like SWE3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. Or maybe even have multiple levels above seniors, like staff, principal, distinguished, fellow. Last but not least, there are companies that either don't know what a senior software engineer is or just want to keep their valuable employees and label them senior. But they never faced scale. Their code wasn't around for enough time to see the need of change. Their organization was small enough that didn't have maintainability problems with the organizational scale. So I know it is tempting that for a higher salary or more prestige, we want to be called senior sooner. But we should think of what are we losing? Does our ability qualify in the entire industry? Can we handle complex use cases? Can we identify what complexity is? Let's discuss your thoughts and correct me in the comment sections. And if you liked my content, push the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned because there's way more where this is coming from. Thanks for watching. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye. Guess I'm not a senior software engineer.